William Stimpson and Rebecca Lubbock, his first wife, lived in England and had 3 sons. The first baby son was born prematurely and died the same day. About the same time, William and Rebecca both accepted the teachings of the missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and then soon immigrated to America, first by ship, then by train, and then because of the poor conditions they went by handcart with the ill-fated Edward Martin Handcart Company. Their third son, William B., died during the travel crossing the plains near the Platte River. Then their fourth son, Stimpson, was born during a cold, windy snowstorm about the first part of November in 1856. He died prematurely near Independence Rock, Wyoming. His mother, Rebecca, died at his birth. For nearly 1 out of 10 who started the trek between 1847 and 1869, the end was a shallow grave somewhere on the trail. This was the tragedy for William and Rebecca. William later in his life could not talk again about this. William and his third son, Frederick, were the only survivors of this little family when they arrived in Salt Lake City. Frederick Stimpson, the second son of William and Rebecca Stimpson, was only 4.5 years old when he traveled across the plains. Fred and Sarah Jane Parker were married October 26, 1876. They made their homes in Riverdale, South Hooper, and St. Anthony, Idaho. They were the parents of 12 children. John Stimpson, the fourth son of Frederick and Sarah Jane Stimpson, was born August 17, 1882. He married Sarah Elizabeth Singleton on September 18, 1904. They made their home in St. Anthony, Idaho. They were the parents of 9 children. Most of these children are the reasons why we are all gathered here today to celebrate their lives. John Edward Stimpson, also known as Ed, was born March 6, 1905 in Riverdale in the home of his great-grandparents. He married Ariel Thelma Mason February 24, 1925 in St. Anthony, Idaho. They made their home in St. Anthony. They were the parents of 2 sons. They moved to Ogden in 1942 and lived there for the rest of their lives. Ed died October 13, 1986 in Roy Weber, Utah. Ariel died July 27, 1994. Frank William Stimpson was born September 23, 1907 in St. Anthony. He married Nellie Josephine Earhart May 31, 1929 in St. Anthony, where they made their home. They were the parents of 2 sons. In 1948, they moved to Nampa Canyon, Idaho. They remained there for the rest of their lives. Frank died May 17, 1989 in Nampa. Nell died July 7, 1994 in Nampa. Della Leola Stimpson was born January 6, 1910 in St. Anthony. She married James Gordon Blake May 14, 1928 in Pocatello, Bannock, Idaho. They made their home in St. George, Washington, Utah, where Gordon was a cattle rancher. They were the parents of 6 children. Gordon died May 15, 1984 in St. George. Della died July 20, 2003 in St. George. Glenn Earl Stimpson was born May 17, 1914 in St. Anthony, Idaho. He married Clara Young September 26, 1935 in St. Anthony. They made their home on his parents' farm in St. Anthony and stayed there all their lives. They were the parents of 4 children. Glenn died November 3, 1974 in St. Anthony. Clara died May 15, 1994 in Rexburg, Idaho. Ralph Stimpson was born in St. Anthony, Idaho, July 2, 1917. He never married. He lived in St. Anthony all his life. He died November 10, 1993 at age 76 in Rigby, Jefferson, Idaho. Ida Mae Stimpson was born July 5, 1919 in St. Anthony. She married William Price Thomas September 22, 1938. They moved to Louisville, Idaho. Price died April 14, 1979 in Idaho Falls. Ida died August 10, 2006 in Idaho Falls. Stella Marie Stimpson was born November 15, 1925 in St. Anthony. She married Lawrence Dean Davis December 13, 1944 in St. Anthony. They moved many times as Dean worked for the Idaho State Fish and Game Department. They made their home in Emmett Gem, Idaho. They were the parents of 4 children. Stella died January 13, 1978 in Emmett. Dean died March 28, 1985 in Emmett.
Gary Blake in charge of the next reunion.
Ought to be in the
That's the motion.
Well, you
All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Paul.
Gary, I guess you and Kay know you.
Gary and Kay are it. Oh, second it, somebody. All right, it's been seconded and passed.
Well, I was going to say Lauren has.
Yeah, I look up.
Oh, we ought to have a...
Been on one. You and, I mean, Mike.